Hello everyone! How are we doing today? And welcome to the channel. So, I know what you're all thinking. Oh my god, One Piece did it again! Peak Piece, the greatest anime series ever, has blessed us with another gem of animation. And that is the One Piece fan letter. So of course I was gonna review it. Who do you guys think I am? I'm One Piece fan 45 here, and I'm gonna get into it. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the categories. We got beginning, we've got characters, we got story, we got originality and creativity, which I do believe applies here because it's a shorter series, right? So world building's not really, it's one episode. I mean, it's 24 minutes. And then ending, right? You gotta know how the ending is. Is it good? Is it bad? Does it make me want to cry, happy tears, or sad? All right. So without further ado, we're going to slide right into the beginning category, right? Is the main character interesting? Is the hook good? And is the premise great? These are the fruit salad that make any wonderful anime series. And I am happy to announce that this episode knocks it out of the park. My god, does it knock it out of the park. First off, you got the great girl character. I don't really know her name, but I'll put a pic. It's the girl you've seen everywhere. It's her, right? She's wonderful. I think she is an amazing kind of self-insert character for the series and allows for interesting ideas to be played around with, because fans within a series aren't always referenced within the actual material, if that makes sense. And so to have a character that is a representation of the positive impact that One Piece has had on everyone as a whole is a unique and creative idea. I like that. I find that character interesting, right? Is the premise awesome? 100% it's One Piece. Without a question, you get the point, because I'm a sucker for One Piece. Is the hook great? Yeah, because I believe that using the fans as sort of the premise for this episode and kind of the journey that they've gone along with the series this entire many years. I believe it's 25 or 27. I could be wrong. You know, fake One Piece fan if I'm wrong, I guess. I'm in shambles. But I believe that is inherently a very interesting part of the story that doesn't get talked about as much. And so I believe overall the beginning gets a 3 out of 3. I don't think you could ask for anything more, and I don't think you could certainly not give it anything less. And so then we're going to get into the characters. I'm going to talk about the letter writers first, and then I'm going to talk about the Straw Hats. We're kind of going to break it up 50-50, right? So the letter writers, as I said before, I think they are a wonderful self-insert within the series for the fans and the impact that has spawned between the two, right? And I do believe that having different characters impacted by different Straw Hats more than others is a great way to take it. An amazing representation. Like, the Marine brother is more impacted by Luffy and the relationship that Luffy had with Ace as brothers, right? And so that kind of guides him in how to have his own relationship with his brother. Because at the end of the day, even though his younger brother is a little bit of a jerk, right? You know, he says some things that maybe he shouldn't say. He does care about him at the end of the day, because he did say run when Kizaru's lasers were about to hit, right? And it could have killed the older brother, but the younger brother was like, save yourself! Don't die like me! And then he said, no, I'm gonna save you too. And then you're gonna have to live with the fact that I saved both of us, and I also got the promotion, so get owned, right? Classic brother relationship there. Also, you have the bookstore owner with the Brook kind of thing going on, which I enjoyed. The fact that at the end, her sad moment was that she wasn't going to get to go to the Brook concert because he leaves as he's leaving Sabaody. He kind of does his concert as he goes. And she was sad that she didn't have a ticket to go see it. And then the two little kids who are always terrorizing her are like, we got you. Somehow we know how to get to the Brook concert as he is leaving. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. I guess it's free if he's performing out in the open. So you technically don't need a ticket, I guess. But overall, I thought the letter writers were a wonderful cast, and I thoroughly enjoyed everything that they had to offer. As for the Straw Hats, I love that the Straw Hats didn't really interact with the letter writers in any insanely meaningful way other than just them being there, right? So for the Marine brothers, it was Luffy saying brother, and he was going to save him, right? For the main girl, it's just the fact that Nami is a witty person, a very resourceful person, especially since she has to fight without devil fruit powers against these overpowered devil fruit people. And at the time in the story that this is taking place, she doesn't have Zeus yet, which I don't really know how you want to factor Zeus into that, because it's technically a devil fruit power, but not hers. So I don't really know if that changes anything, but it is nice to know that the different level of impact the Straw Hats have had just by being present, which I think is why they're not necessarily interacting with the characters too much. Although I will point out the whole Usopp conversation with the girl, where he kind of helps her pick her back up her stuff, right? And then he's like, oh, I saw the guy who took your letter, right? He went over there into that bar with all of the rough and tough people that I should send a little girl to. And then he starts like, oh, don't worry. I know exactly what you should say when you get in there not to get kicked out. And he's like, I'm waiting for someone. I'm going to have a glass of water, right? And so she goes in there and immediately says that, and it just doesn't work. And I was like, that is the most Usopp thing for him to give you advice and you to be like a kid or something. You'd be like, oh my God, he's so wise. And then for you to do it and it just doesn't work at all. My goat, Usopp. I love that guy. And I also enjoyed how Zoro and Sanji were in the bar prior. And they're just getting trash talked by the people at the table, being like, oh, they're not the strongest or whatever. And then they beat up the table. It's great all around. I love it. I love it to pieces. And so therefore, I think the Straw Hats are a phenomenal 3 out of 3 as well. I really like how they handled them, because you can't really have too many conversations as that part of the story has already happened. So you don't want too many plot holes or inconveniences within the writing. So that brings us to the story, right? This isn't really about advancing the plot in any way. This is about reflection of both the audience and the author, and understanding the impact that this series has had. I like how it is structured around that impact, because most series don't ever get to the point and the influence that One Piece has, so you can't really have this kind of outside looking in perspective, understanding that the story is bigger than the story, right? And that's what this entire 24-minute episode is trying to convey to you, is the positive and genuine impact that this series has had on everyone's lives. Look at everything these characters have accomplished. And look at how they've inspired everyone. It is such a smart way to convey that, right? It's so ridiculously, like, next level. And it feels like a love letter. Oh, dude, who saw that coming? Who saw that? Guys, hold on. No, I don't click off the video, guys. Please, don't click on it. Hold on. No. Guys, please laugh. Guys, please laugh at my joke, please. But it feels like a love letter to the Straw Hats and to the fans, which is really amazing. And it could have easily felt like disconjointed or forced at any point, but kind of the pacing and how they kind of had to keep moving for this plot thread, wonderfully well done. I think the story overhaul conveys how much One Piece has influenced everyone. And I don't think a lot of authors understand that, if that makes sense. Like, if you take any author with their series, right? What usually happens when a fan or somebody or something positive happens that shows the influence that their series has had, right? And they'll be like, oh my God, I didn't realize that my story had this amount of impact, or X or X. That's usually the conversation you're going to get, or some variation of that. But for Oda to understand exactly where his fan base is, the monstrous, insurmountable impact that One Piece has had, and for him to understand exactly both his audience and that, is really unique. You don't get that very often. And so I think the story conveying that is wonderful and amazing all the way. And I think it 100% gets the 5 out of 5 for the story category. So as for originality and creativity, kind of delved into this a little bit, but has anybody seen a fan episode? Like a acknowledgement to the fans and literal characters that are the fans themselves? No? Me neither. I haven't. And this isn't a thing where I believe every series needs to have this. I do not believe this is an every series thing. I think it is just a wonderfully well done acknowledgement to something that has been going on, like One Piece, for a ridiculously long time. and everybody's been in the journey for years. Any, like, really invested One Piece fan has been in this for a while, right? And even the new people who, like, let's say you just watched One Piece and you just finished, I guarantee that you are now going to be 100% invested in whatever comes later, because one, the story is amazing, and two, you have experienced this lifelong journey. This once in a lifetime, once in all-time story that One Piece is, spanning this long. So I believe that regardless of where you are in One Piece, whether you've been there for 20 years, whether you've just started, you can appreciate this episode 100%. If you have just started, though, I wouldn't recommend watching this until you have at least passed Sabaody, the reunite scene right after the time skip. But, I mean, if you do, I mean, I don't think anybody's going to stop you. It is rare to see such a direct acknowledgement of the fans within the narrative in any story. And I think One Piece did it in a way that wasn't truly filler and that wasn't pandering, right? And I think the creativity of framing it through letters is a nice touch to show that the impact of the characters is beyond the screen itself. It's beyond the book itself. It's further than what you would think it actually is. So I think it gets the 3 out of 3 for originality and creativity. I don't think you could give it anything less. And so we're cruising right on in to the ending category. It is rare to see an anime episode that makes you stand up and cheer or cry happy or sad tears, right? Or pop off. You're like, yeah, let's frickin' go. In 24 minutes. It is very hard to do that unless it's like a climactic episode, but for just something self-contained within 24 minutes, that is very hard to do, and I think One Piece did an incredible job of it. And I will say, sure, you can make the argument, Carter, it's not an earth-shattering plot line, and it was an insane twisting finale, and it didn't have a crazy villain. That's not the point. That's not the point. It's a moment of reflection and understanding between the author, the audience, and the character. To have something that special between those three parties is something very rare, and I think should be celebrated, especially with the ending, because essentially what ends up happening is the girl rips up her letter, which was the fan letter she wrote to Nami, right? And she never got to give Nami that fan letter, which is kind of realistic in a way, because regardless of if it's One Piece or not, maybe you're a Naruto fan, or maybe you are a fan of some celebrity right now, right? You are not always going to be able to give them that letter to make them understand how much of a positive impact that they've had on your life, right? It's not always going to be possible. And that's just the tragic truth. However, understanding that you did something for them, even if it's incrementally small, just to kind of pay back and thank them for everything they've done for you, is a wonderful feeling and is something that you definitely can achieve, right? And so I think that's how this series kind of handles it in a way that is incredibly realistic and fulfilling. Because sure, you could, it's not impossible, have that moment where, hey, you're the girl and you're giving Nami the letter, whether Nami is, maybe you're really into, I don't know, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, right? And you meet Dwayne The Rock Johnson in person, and you give him the letter, and you have a wonderful conversation, and everything is great. That can happen. However, it's not always the case, but you could support them by either going to projects that they've worked on, or just helping them along the way in their dream, or in their life. Even incrementally, right? Just knowing that is enough, and should fill you with a sense of warmth and pride, knowing that both of you have kind of had a positive impact on each other, right? And so I think the ending gets a wonderful 3 out of 3. Don't think you could give it anything else, for the reasons that I have described, of course. Now, I am also going to bonus point alert. Bonus point alert. Oh my god. Everyone hide in the bunker. Carter's giving One Piece a bonus point. I believe that it deserves it because, one, it genuinely made me feel all the One Piece emotions again. The love, the joy, the anguish of Marineford all over again. And so I believe it thoroughly gets that bonus point. Also, it just showed me why I fell in love with it in the first place, right? The sense of adventure, the camaraderie, the sheer joy of watching the characters accomplish their dreams, and kind of also showing you, which I think is the one thing that One Piece should tell people, right? Is a lot of people bring up the point of One Piece is super long, I don't want to watch it, right? And that is fair. I will say it is a huge time commitment. But you want to know what is also a huge time commitment? Fulfilling your dream, whatever it may be. And I think that is probably the best lesson that One Piece can give you, if anything. And you don't even have to watch the story for it, is that X amount of years later, 25, however long it is. I mean, in the story, it's less, but within actual time, it's been 25, 27 years of One Piece going on, right? Luffy has been pursuing the dream, his dream, of Pirate King for that long. Dreams are not something that you can just, oh my god, I have it now, right? It's like, oh my god, my dream is to finish my glass of sweet tea. Wow, you know, that's not an actual dream. A dream is something that you have to struggle, you have to persevere, you have to be determined every step of the way. And sure, you're gonna fail sometimes. Sure, there are gonna be days where you think, I can just skip today. There are gonna be days where you're thinking, you know what? I just don't wanna do it. I'll take today off or something like that. But if you do that, just know that that sets you back in accomplishing what you really want. And so you have to be there every day, whether you want it or not, that day. You have to go and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And maybe the progress you make is 1%. Maybe it's 0.1%. But just know that that is closer than you were before to your dream, to what you really want. Which everybody has something out there that they really want. But maybe you're just too afraid to pursue it, right? And I think that is what One Piece's core message is. And also what I believe this is getting at, right? Is One Piece inspires a lot of people, right? To pursue their dreams. And the progress that each person has made on those dreams because of One Piece is insurmountable. It is an insanely positive impact that I think everybody could use a little bit more of. And that is why I believe that this series deserves the grandiose and deserved rating of 21 out of 20 for the One Piece fan letter episode. And it is a well-deserved masterpiece. So, whether you're a One Piece fan or you're not, hey, you got 6 months to catch up on whatever you want before it starts animating again. And I will see you guys in the next one. Oh, and also, as for my loyal subscribers, right? The man who wanted Berserk. I'm getting through that behemoth of a series, don't you worry. And I believe I should have it within the next 2 videos. I'm going to break it up after the Conviction arc, I believe it is called. So I'm going to do everything Conviction arc and prior in one episode. And then I am going to handle the League, or the Legend of Galactic Heroes for you, Meat Bun, because you are such a loyal subscriber, and you always comment, and I appreciate it so much more than you could ever know. And also for Amin, my bestest buddy, I will be giving you that Black Clover episode soon. So don't you worry, and I will see you guys in the next one. Adios.